where every path leads to purpose.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
National headlines and the local stories you care about. WLBB, Carrollton, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3.
Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. And this morning we are on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, encouraging you guys at home to participate in our program this morning. Very interesting show, and I was happy that we were able to book it. Several people recommended this gentleman to come here and talk on my subject this morning, so I'm glad he agreed to. As I said before, I'm trying to focus on the 200 years, as we celebrate Carroll County, 200th birthday of Carroll County coming up this summer, I believe. Maybe I can get the exact date from my guest here. But this summer, 200 years, I think that's kind of a big deal. I've been here 20 years, and I'm still interested and fascinated on how it became what it is. I still have questions about iconic buildings and locations in the county, and so selfishly, if not just for me, or not just for you, for me as well, just to learn about all these things in the history of Carroll County. So this morning, I brought in a gentleman. Like I said, several people had recommended him as a good speaker, as a historian, and just talking to him for 20 minutes this morning, I've learned a lot about the county and about him as well. I enjoyed doing that. His name is Jim Swinson, and president of the Casimir-Pulaski. What's that? The entire
Casimir-Pulaski chapter, Sons of the American Revolution.
Okay, there you go. and I know Casimir because, or I'm just familiar with him and paid attention to him. First of all, because just Pulaski, the city in Tennessee or something like that. And I think the Braves minor league team might have played there for a while. So I did the research on that maybe 30 years ago. And plus, I'm about 45% Polish, so I was interested in him, because of that as well. So, Jim, good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you for coming out here to talk about this.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And just talking to you out here this morning, it's very clear that you do know your stuff. So entertain us here for about 25 minutes now on the history of Carroll County. We're going to just start out. 200 years ago, it was Georgia, but not Carroll County. I think it was part of wasn't there 5 counties into the one at that point?
Eventually, it did turn into 5 counties. When you start talking about the history of Carroll County, I think you have to go all the way back to the first treaty of Indian Springs, which was 1821. 1821, the Creek Nation ceded all of their land east of the Flint River Basin. But probably what was more significant about that as far as the Creek Indians were concerned, they were very, very upset about all the land that they had been swindled out of, that had been taken by force or one thing or another. They swore a blood oath amongst themselves at that time that they would cede no more Creek land for any reason to any entity. Well, 1825 comes along. Gold has been discovered in Villarica. There's a big push. Even more settlers are coming in. Big push to get the rest of the Creek Nation land. So, 1825, Chief McIntosh, one of the chiefs of the Lower Creek, the Creek Nation was the Lower Creeks and the Upper Creeks. So, mostly Lower Creeks here in Georgia. But he was one of the main chiefs of the Lower Creek Nation. He just so happened to be a cousin of the governor, George Troup. So George Troup and McIntosh, under a lot of pressure, you can look at it two ways. They offered him enough money to where he sold out, or he saw what was coming, the inevitability of losing all the creek land, and he made the best deal he possibly could. It would have been a whole lot more believable if he hadn't pocketed about $50,000 of that money out of the $200,000 sale. At any rate, the Treaty of Indian Springs of 1825 was negotiated. 5 chiefs of the Lower Creek Nation signed that treaty. It was signed in February. A couple of months later, when the Upper Creeks found out what McIntosh had done, they sent the entire police force for the Creek Nation, about 200 armed men. They surrounded what currently we know as McIntosh Reserve, his house, not the same house, but very similar structures. They surrounded it, set it on fire, and they shot the people one by one as they ran out of the house. McIntosh stayed in the house, even with it on fire, and when they finally realized they couldn't get him out, they went in after him. He jumped out of the overhead onto them, slashing and stabbing, and they were shooting and stabbing and what have you. I think he ended up with 35, 40 wounds before it was all over. They eventually killed McIntosh. But at the same time this was going on, one of the chiefs of the Upper Creek Nation went to Washington, D.C. That treaty the Treaty of Indian Springs, 1825, was ratified by one vote in Congress. But the Lower Creeks, by this time the Lower Creek leadership was gone. The Upper Creeks went to Washington with an entourage and claimed that treaty was a fraudulent treaty, that they had never signed it. And so you end up with 2 dates for when Carroll County became Carroll County. You can either say June 9th, 1825, when George Troup said it's a valid treaty, or you can take the Washington Treaty of 1826, June 9th, and say that's the start of Carroll County. So you got 2 dates, both of them June 9th. The actual date is June 9th, 1826, was when the legislature established Carroll County. Great story there, and the fact that when the Upper Creeks went to Washington protesting it was an invalid treaty, John Quincy Adams, who was the president at that time, signed a brevet general named Edmund Gaines, I believe, to investigate that treaty. He came back to Adams and reported, yes, that's a fraudulent treaty. It's not valid. So George Troup said, I don't care what the federal government says. It's valid in my eyes. I'm the governor. And he started forcing the Creeks off their land. Adams said, the Indians have rights, and I'll send the federal army down to enforce Indian rights in Georgia if you don't back off. And George Troup came back, well, if you don't back off, I will activate the Georgia militia and we will go to war over this. Adams chickened out. He backed off. And so for a period of about a year, there was quite a bit of turmoil about whether it was a valid treaty or invalid treaty in the eyes of the residents here in Georgia. Eventually, though, the Washington Treaty of 1826 was signed, which did grant all of that land that's currently, it went all the way from the Flint River area all the way to the Alabama line. So, and bordered the Cherokee land to the north. But everything today that's Carroll County was included in that. In fact, it was Carroll County, Troup County, Heard County, Haralson County, and part of Carroll County was mated with Campbell County, which county doesn't exist anymore. So 5 counties split off of it eventually. But Carroll County is still one of the largest counties in the state, even today. So we got the land. We now legally owned it. And so the Georgia legislature established Carroll County June 9th, 1826. So what do we do with all this land? Well, they surveyed the land into 202.5 acre tracts. And in the 1827 land lot lottery of that year, it was parceled out based on a lottery system. Everybody that was eligible, some of the eligibility requirements are there were I think 11 eligibility requirements. First one being you had to be a resident of the state of Georgia for 2 years. And
not even in the territory, just the state of Georgia.
Yeah, just the state. If you lived in Georgia, you were eligible to put your name in the hat for a draw. Some of them got kind of down in the weeds. There was one that I'm particularly fond of. I believe it's qualification number 8 and 9, or 9 and 10. I'm not quite sure, but this is the way it was stated. Eligibility number 9, female idiot, deaf, dumb, or blind. One draw. And the same for number 10, I believe, was idiot male, deaf, dumb, or blind. Got one draw. So if you ever wonder where some of the people you run into come from, you might have a clue. At any rate, the land was parceled out into 202.5 acre tracts, although there's a little caveat to that. Any land that was suspected of having gold on it, like the land around Villa Rica and some in present-day Haralson County and a little bit down in the southern end of Carroll County, was divided up into 40-acre tracts. Those were called gold deeds. So because it might have gold on them, it was 40-acre tracts instead of 202-acre tracts. And so the land lot lottery was held, and the people who drew it, many of whom had never even seen the land, came in here. They took a look around. Some of them said, "Yeah, I like this," and some of them said, "No." There's one story that I heard. There's a tavern that still stands over in Villa Rica. It's called Wick's Tavern. This guy had come over from present-day Gwinnett County and took a look at his land and decided it was pretty much worthless. And so he was going home, and he stopped in Wick's Tavern for the night. And he tried to pay for his lodging and his food there with the deed to 202.5 acres. And the proprietor refused it. Said it wasn't worth anything. So if you can imagine 202.5 acres today, the value of it, no matter where it is.
Jim, let me take our first break here. We got
Go ahead.
Our sponsors, give them some attention. And again, thank you for filling this in here. And I have no doubt you could talk to me for 3 hours about this. It just get me like the 1850. Yeah. All right, time right now is 8:43. We'll take our first break. Come back and continue our conversation with Jim Swinson, Community Voice, brought to you by Tanner Health and Oak Mountain Academy.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy specializes in a customized designed academic approach tailored to meet the needs of our families. Our lower division prepares students with the necessary foundation to build excellence. Our middle division provides students with over 15 course offerings, providing them with opportunities to explore their talents and gifts. Our upper division provides personalized academic journeys, allowing them to achieve their dreams. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us, where every path leads to purpose.
All right, 844, welcome back to the Community Voice. My name is Colin Worthington. My guest this morning is Jim Swinson, historian Jim Swinson, giving us a look back at Carroll County's origins. And we decided 1826, June 9th, is the birthday. So 200 years this year we're celebrating. And like I've said before, I'm going to try to put together a bunch of shows that discuss the history of Carroll County and maybe iconic buildings that we don't know so much about, iconic people, a lot of names that we might recognize but don't know why we should. Hopefully we'll learn a lot about that this year as we recognize 200 years of Carroll County. Again, Jim is my guest this morning, and president of the Casimir-Pulaski group. And you guys have a project that you're working on right now.
We do. We're for Memorial Day this year, the Saturday prior to Memorial Day. We plan on doing a Revolutionary War soldier grave marking. He's one of the 17 Revolutionary War soldiers who settled here in Carroll County as a result of that land lot lottery I was just talking about. His name was Thomas A. Hinesley. And what's unique about Thomas A. Hinesley is he joined the war in 1776, and he fought continuously through the Revolutionary War till 1781 when he got his discharge. There's probably only 100 enlisted men that can claim that, having served the entirety of the entire Revolutionary War. He was quite an individual. He rose from enlisted all the way to the rank of captain by the time the war was over. And then the War of 1812 came along. He re-enlisted again and rose to the rank of colonel. He's presently buried out off Toccoa Road, just off Cross Plains Road, which it's on timberland property. There's about 200 graves in there, but it's almost inaccessible to the public. A couple of fences and ditches, and it's timberland property. So we made the decision to hold the grave marking ceremony at the Veterans Park here on Memorial Day. I couldn't think of a more appropriate day to do it. But I am interested in reaching out to any of the Hinesley family that's still in the area here to ask them if they would like to be a participant in their Revolutionary War ancestors' marking.
The Hinesley grave, how are they identified? I mean, and how did you guys discover?
We know where all 17 of them are buried.
But it's just a stone, right? I mean, does it say Hinesley's name on it?
No, it actually
really?
There's actually a VA marker on that grave. I don't know who put it there and how long it's been there, but there is a marker that identifies him as a Revolutionary War soldier in that grave. It's we cleaned that grave site up about 10 years ago, briars and brambles, and it was an all-day project.
Is that one of the main functions of the Pulaski group?
Well, we're all about preserving. Our organization exists. We're an educational outreach. We teach the history of the founding of the United States of America, and we honor all those people that participated in that war, the founding fathers themselves and all the people that took up arms against the greatest military power in the world at that time. Our name comes from Casimir Pulaski, who was a Polish cavalry officer. As a result of being on the wrong side in Poland, he was forced to leave Poland. But he was a trained cavalry officer, and he traveled to France, met Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin wrote him a letter of endorsement to Washington. He came to the States and volunteered his services, and so he is the father of the American cavalry, the Big Red One.
And he's credited with like saving George Washington or something in the battle.
Yeah, he actually Well, he and George Washington at one battle became. They ended up in the front lines, and the sharpshooters were taking aim at them, and Pulaski and Washington both survived. Although Washington had about 5 bullet holes in his cloak that he was wearing. Very lucky. But he was actually killed in the battle for Savannah. So that's why we took his name, a battle here in Georgia that took place. The information leaked out to the British side about the planned attack on Savannah. And so the American troops were getting cut to shreds. Pulaski realized what was going on. He led a cavalry charge right into the thick of the battle, and he was mortally wounded there, taken to a ship offshore, died, and then subsequently brought back ashore and buried. We reinterred him in his grave there. He's in one of the main squares there in Savannah, Georgia. If you ever go down there, you can see his actual grave.
He was only like 35, 36.
He was a young man, never married, didn't leave any children. He was not a very big man, only about 5'9", but had a terrific impact.
Time right now is 8:50. We'll take our final break and come back, and we'll get back into the early 1800s in Carroll County with Jim here. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health and Oak Mountain Academy.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy is a vibrant community built on innovation, academic excellence, and a 64-year legacy of shaping community leaders. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, inviting you to visit the mountain and experience firsthand the passion, purpose, and personalized education that defines our school. Come see how our mission and vision come to life each day. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
.52, welcome back to the Community Voice. Got about 8 minutes left with our program here with Jim. I think we're just going to have to bring you back on sometime, maybe once a month, because I think there's so much to talk about. That first segment we talked about, how Carroll County became Carroll County, and the first question I had, that I was left thinking was, what about the government? How was the government start then immediately, or was it just kind of like Wild West?
The government did start almost immediately. The governor appointed 5 individuals. They were called inferior judges at that time. Those inferior judges ended up being the first county commissioners for Carroll County. They originally set up the township in the Sand Hill Hewitt community. And immediately they built 2 buildings. They built a small courthouse, both of them log, and they built a pit jail. So they had a courthouse and a jail. So, but the government's founded. But they immediately went on a search for a better site for the county seat, and they discovered this area that we now know as Carrollton. To the north it was set on a ridge. If you think about the center of Carrollton, you go down Rome Street, it drops off. You go down Alabama Street, drops off. The other side drops off the other way. And it had natural springs all the way around the base of it. And so fresh water up on a high spot, flat, perfect for a county seat. So it moved in 1827 was when they started working on what became the city of Carrollton. It was named for one of the inferior court judges, a guy named Adamson. That's why it's Adamson Square now up there. They moved the old courthouse from Sand Hill. They took the logs apart, moved them up here, and it was on. They put it just off the square. It was too small really to serve for anything. They tore down the pit jail. A pit jail is you take logs and you slab them off on four sides to form a cant, and then they just stack these things up in a pyramid shape and cut a little slot around the very top for a little bit of fresh air. They tried to build it on hard ground. They put a roof on it, and the sheriff lived above the jail. Whenever somebody was caught and put in jail, they were dragged up a set of steps. They opened a trap door and dropped him in the pit. And so that was just off of the square on Rome Street was where that was located. That's long since gone. Maybe the best story I can sum up with is, how did Carroll County get its name? Carroll County got its name because in 1825 something very unique happened. We had two presidents, John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, both died on July the 4th, 1825, 6 hours apart from each other, both thinking the other one still lived. And so that left one remaining signer of the Declaration of Independence that was still alive. That was Charles Carroll of Maryland. His plantation was called Carrollton. So Charles Carroll became the name because he was the last. He got a lot of publicity about the last surviving signer. So they were originally going to name it Troup County. Troup County being that name being used for present-day Troup County, but they decided to name this up here Carroll County in remembrance of Charles Carroll, the last signer of the Declaration of Independence, and they chose the name for the county seat Carrollton because that was his plantation name in Maryland, and so that's how Carrollton got to be Carrollton, and Carroll County got to be Carroll County.
Now, there's probably 10 other Carroll counties and 10 other Carrolltons.
Oh yeah, you can go all over the United States and you're going to find a Carroll County somewhere.
So were they founded at the same time then? And I mean, all for the same reason?
Yeah, it was the whole westward progression. There for a brief period of time, Carrollton here in Georgia, Carroll County was the western frontier of its time. And there's a lot of great stories that go along with that. The Pony Club and the Slicks that were in opposition to each other.
Well, we'll have to revisit that on a future show. I hope you'll come back.
Oh, well, I'd love to come back.
Yeah, we'd love to having you. I think we all enjoyed hearing that story this morning, and very detailed. I mean, Jim, you're on it. Really?
I don't know about that.
Well, you didn't pause for a second. You knew it all. It's like you've been presenting this for a while.
I've been studying history all my life.
All right, Jim, thank you for coming out this morning.
It was my pleasure.
And again, we will bring Jim back here maybe in a couple of weeks or maybe next month at least. But, hey, thank you for tuning in to this morning's Community Voice program. I was telling Jim, I mean, with his voice and his presentation, we need to put that into a little podcast form or something. I mean, you can imagine, because it's so detailed, everything he's saying, and just easy to listen to. But anyway, thank you for joining us this morning for the Community Voice. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to speak with Georgia's Labor Commissioner on the Community Voice program. That show starts at 8:30. Hope you'll tune in for that. 8:59 now. Stay tuned for national news, and then Glenn Beck is on the air till 12 noon. Have a great Wednesday, everybody.